All right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Friday, the 12th of August. Getting ready to take down a bunch of Priorat stuff tonight here at the store. But hey, what have we got to sell you today? We have got some Burgundy, one of my favorite producers, Bouchard Offering. And Burgundy, you know, kind of a paradox, this area with so many great wines. I visited this region several times for the Grand Jour de Bourgogne, and I couldn't believe, you know, one of the biggest tastings, the Corton tasting, 150 wines there, the largest Grand Cru in Burgundy, and I would say a third of the wines were kind of grand. Two-thirds of the wine were just grandly overpriced. But, you know, the most important thing to look for in a bottle of Burgundy today is the label. And I would say two-thirds of those wines were not available in the United States. They were sold locally or, you know, somewhere else where the people weren't quite as discerning maybe as, you know, the Burgundy aficionados of this country. They get to drink the greatest wines made in Burgundy. Really, that's what makes it over to the shore here for the most part. So one of the things that adds to the confusion is the subdivision, the small plots of land. You know, if you compare Burgundy to Bordeaux, well, for every one bottle of Burgundy that's produced, there's 10 bottles of Bordeaux produced. And if you look at, say, you know, one of the great producers of Bordeaux, Chateau Lafite Rothschild, they make 30,000 cases of that one wine. Let's look at the largest vineyard owner in Montrachet, the Marquis de la Guiche. They make 700 cases of that wine a year. So a very different, you know, production. A lot of these houses make, you know, 100 different wines. Bouchard makes over 100 different wines. So to be able to market and sell all of those wines can be very difficult. But like I said, the most important thing to look for on a bottle is the producer's name, and Bouchard owns over 130 different hectares in Burgundy, 86 of which are Premier and Grand Cru, making them the largest owner of Premier and Grand Cru in Burgundy, with famous names like Chevalier Montrachet, Volnay-Cailleret, Pellini Montrachet, the famous Bone Grave, the baby Jesus wine we like to call it, and many, many more. There is a plethora of great stuff to pick from in this lineup. Even their entry-level 2009 Bourgogne is an outstanding little bottle of Burgundy. For $16.50, well, we have got the largest selection of Bouchard Offering wines we have ever had available in the store. As I mentioned before, the history of this property goes back to the 18th century, and the Bouchard family ran it up until just recently, 1995, when it was sold to the Henriot Group Champagne family. And they run it pretty much the same way. You know, Luc Bouchard still is in charge of the marketing and sales. One of the family members, he was in last year to start promoting these 2009s, and I have to say, we did 2 tastings with these wines. The 2009 vintage, one of the greatest young vintages I have ever tasted from Burgundy. It is amazing. You get the best of both worlds with these wines. You get lovely forward fruit, which gives you immediate peel, and then they have lovely concentration, which means you are going to be able to keep these wines for a long time in your cellar. It's rare that you have a great vintage in Burgundy where you have both of these things, immediate appeal and the ability to age the wine as well. The 2009 whites, maybe not quite as successful as the reds, maybe going to be a little bit shorter lived, but a great vintage for whites as well. 2008 maybe a little better for the whites, and then 2007 also very good for the whites. They haven't had a bad vintage in Burgundy for a while, maybe a little difficult for the reds the last couple of years, but this 2009 vintage is killer. You don't want to miss out on it. If you love Burgundy, check it out. All the 2009 vintage Bouchard Offering wines that we have to offer on this offering. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.